Hi, welcome to our marinades and salad dressings. These are really great recipes and they have a secret ingredient, and we're using our essential oils. I love to cook with essential oils. Just to raise a hand, except for Joey, because she's just got a picture, but raise your hand if you have used essential oils in cooking. I'd love to know if you've tried any recipes. Yeah. So how'd they come out, Terry? How'd they come out, Linda?
They come out great.
Great, good.
I mean, all kind of like frostings, even recipes, the power balls. I put them in power balls, the orange. And then Kimberly's the curry is amazing. Yeah, so
Excellent. So good. Well, Kathy Thorne is one of my favorite people in the universe, and she's the Martha Stewart of our group. And she's a lovely cook, but I know one time she had a little bit of a disaster when she put in some oregano into a marinara sauce. So I just thought I'd start with some do's and don'ts for cooking with essential oils. And so I just have three little tips for you. And the first one is to use a light hand, like always start with just a little bit. You can always add more. And a little bit could be just a toothpick's worth of essential oil. So I don't have my props today because I have evacuated in front of the hurricane. So I thought I would be teaching this class in my kitchen, but I'm actually at the Hilton in Fort Myers. Woohoo! So anyway, pretend this is a bottle of oregano essential oil. And in this hand, I want you to pretend I have a toothpick. And so you just take the toothpick into that tiny little orifice and get the toothpick wet, and then there you go. And then you'll just take the toothpick and put that into your sauce, even if it's a large pot of spaghetti sauce. There you go. Can you see her okay? That's how you do it. So a light hand, and you can always add a little bit more.
You stir that toothpick in there.
Yeah, just a little bit. The other way to do it is to put your essential oils onto a spoon. So if you just wanted one drop of essential oil, don't just put the dropper bottle over your salad dressing or marinade or frosting, whatever it is, because two, three, four, five drops can come out all at the same time. So if you just pretend this is a spoon. And you're just going to drop your essential oil into the spoon, and then you can really be critical about just putting in that one in, and then you'll dip that into your ingredients. So use a light hand. And the second tip I have for you is that you might consider diluting your essential oil in a fat source before you put it into the recipe with your other ingredients. So you could drop your essential oils into ingredients like olive oil or honey or tamari. One of my salad dressings has tamari, chicken stock, and this will help dilute and spread the essential oils throughout your ingredients. Okay, so it's not just located in one little spot. So don't use a light hand, dilute in a fat source. And then the third thing to consider is that you want to stick with the essential oils that say essential oil supplement. Okay, so pretend this is a bottle of essential oil. And on the side of the bottle, it'll say essential oil supplement. The dead giveaway is that it has a child-proof cap on it. So then you know that you don't want to take that one internally. But Kimberly and I went to a really cool Symphony of the Cells class with Boyd Truman a few years ago at convention. And Boyd Truman, in case you don't know him, he is a therapist. Is he a manual therapist, a chiropractor? But I don't know exactly what he does. But
therapist, and he grew up with his mom, who's written several books on the psychology of illness and how to use oils to help you through those things.
Right.
Kind of family that only ate healthy foods, and he was never introduced to anything processed. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so he came up with this really lovely technique called the Symphony of the Cells, which maybe that should be one of our class topics. I'm sure that everybody would love to learn more about his technique. It's great. But what I came away with when that class, Kimberly, you'll remember this. So he had this person on the massage bed covered with a towel, and he would be putting a drop of essential oil on the spinal column of that person. And as he would turn away from the audience, it didn't matter what essential oil it was, he put like a drop right into his mouth, and then put his oil away. And he would say, even if it was one that wasn't recommended to take internally, he felt comfortable taking doTERRA's essential oils internally, even if it was things like wintergreen, which we're really not supposed to take internally. So that brings me to doTERRA's essential oils are on an FDA list called the GRAS list, GRAS, GRAS. GRAS stands for generally regarded as safe to ingest. Now, not all essential oils, as you know, are safe to ingest. If you buy them at Walmart or even at Whole Foods, they'll say right on there, it's not safe to ingest. It would be for topical and aromatic use only, right? So those are my do's and don'ts, my little tips. Again, use a light hand, dilute in a fat source, and stick with ones that say essential oil supplement, okay? All right, so you might be surprised to know that they've been using essential oils in the food and beverage industry for decades. So this isn't new news. Matter of fact, I read a little article that was published in the National Institute of Health a couple of days ago, and they said that there's interest in using essential oils in processed foods because we know that essential oils are antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. And so the processed food companies would like to transition away from some of their synthetic chemicals and use more natural compounds found in essential oils. So that's kind of interesting to keep your eyes on as we move forward. And essential oils are also found in teas. You have a coffee roaster in the Sparks, Reno area called Glory Coffee. And I visited with him a while back, and he had all these amazing canisters of tea. And when he opened them up, you just got this face full of these gorgeous aromatics. And he said, oh, those are all essential oils that you're smelling. So they're out there in the food and beverage industry. So no fear of using them, just a little bit at a time. Okay. Okay, so Kimberly's going to talk to you about Dorinda's chocolates. Let's see.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, Wendy told you some of the different places that have been using essential oils. They not only flavor stuff, but they also scent a lot of products like cleaning products and things like that. But with all of that, which you guys know from past classes, many of the cleaning products that are on the market they're made with synthetic essential oils, and so they'll try to sound like they're up and oh yeah, we scent ours with essential oils. However, you can smell the synthetic smell, like for example, what's Mrs. Somebody
Myers.
Mrs. Myers. Everybody buys her stuff thinking it's all natural. Well, it's not. She uses synthetic essential oils, and you can smell the difference. And especially after you've started using doTERRA's products or pure essential oils, you can tell the difference. Even my son said, Mom, it made me sick. I bought something from the store the other day and I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, that's because you've been conditioned now to use pure essential oils. And so you can smell the difference between synthetic and real. So Miss Marcy. Hi, Marcy. Glad you could join us. So anyway, what was I talking about?
Dorinda's
Synthetic oils.
Thank you. I got sidetracked. So one of my dear friends has Dorinda's chocolates, and when she started with a chocolate covered cherry. That was her signature piece. Then she started expanding. She was a chocolatier, and she started making truffles, and she was having a difficult time. She was making a lemon truffle, and she had this special lemon curd. It was natural. It didn't have a bunch of crap in it that she used to buy from France. Well, the prices they doubled. And she was having a hard time getting it, and she couldn't find anything in the US that even came close to it. And so we were talking one day, and I said, well, why don't you try the lemon essential oil? Because she was using the products, and she said, wow, I never thought of that. I said, it's extremely potent, so you're not going to need as much, and you'll have to figure out what other ingredients are in that curd, but you play with it and you'll get a beautiful, delicious flavor, and they're totally safe to use. So that's how Dorinda started using lemon essential oil. Now she uses lemon, wild orange, peppermint. She's got these delicious peppermint patties and these other peppermint truffles. She uses the clove oil, the lime. And as a matter of fact, so her son, if you've ever eaten it rolled in Reno, so he uses the essential oils in ice cream as well. And it's natural ice cream. He uses almond milk or coconut milk and puts the lime essential oil, the lemon. So anyway, she's won all sorts of awards on her chocolates and truffles. And so it's pretty cool that she uses, you know, doTERRA in Dorinda's. So don't be afraid to use these. They're just amazing in the kitchen. But as Wendy mentioned, we need to caution you, a little goes a long way. Now, the citrus oils are more forgiving, right? But the herbal oils are not. And that's spaghetti sauce. That was my mistake. I made spaghetti and I just took my bottle and I put a couple of drops of oregano and a couple of drops of thyme and a couple of rosemary and basil. Right? Just thinking, oh, I'm going to make this fabulous sauce. And I knew they were potent, but I thought 2 to 3 drops, no big deal. I ruined the spaghetti. As a result of that spaghetti, I fed my son. He came over and he was like, oh God, did you put those oils in our food? He was really tired of me when I first got into the oils, talking about them all the time. And then when I ruined the spaghetti sauce, he says, Mom, I love your spaghetti. Why did you ruin it? Why did you do that? So I learned really quickly, and that's when I learned about the toothpick method. And as Wendy mentioned, a teaspoon is great because at least then if you do accidentally get 2 or 3 drops, because sometimes they sneak out, you don't have to put that in your food. Okay. And I also wanted to tell you that if you are putting it in your fat, you know, if you're putting it in a liquid source. So if you're making something like cake frosting or, you know, anything that you're putting in there, you don't want to just put it in the flour. We've got this wonderful, delicious On Guard popcorn recipe. And somebody called me and she says, I tried to make that On Guard. I don't know how you did it, but she says, I put it on the popcorn and it just sticks to the pieces. And it's like, no, you put it in olive oil or butter and then drizzle it on top of your popcorn. So you never just put it in dry ingredients. Don't put it in some flour. You want to put it in the milk or anything liquid and stir it up. And then you put it into the solid. Okay. That's really important. Otherwise you're just going to get one big blast of On Guard or basil or rosemary. Right. So, let's see here. So I guess, should we go into, how I doctor?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
So before we go into the marinades and the salad dressings, I just want to tell you too, every once in a while we have to, like, sometimes I just need some good clam chowder. And so there's a brand of clam chowder that I like, but it doesn't have enough clams in it. It doesn't have enough garlic and it doesn't have enough flavor, but it's pretty good, better than sometimes I do that. So guess what I do? I doctor up the soup. Don't be afraid. So I'll squeeze a couple fresh garlic cloves and I put some of my, you know, like rosemary, a drop of my rosemary. And I love black pepper oil. The black pepper oil in any kind of soup just enhances the flavor. So if you ever have to cheat, or let's say you just buy a soup, you know, sometimes there's homemade soups, Whole Foods has them. Grateful Gardens, you go to a place and you buy a thing of soup and it's good, but it's not great. That's where you get your little toothpick out, right? And you dip it in your basil or whatever kind of soup you're having, and you figure out what oil would go best with it, and you just stir it all. But the black pepper always gives it great flavor, just so you know. And so you can just stir that right in. And so don't be afraid to doctor up recipes or pasta. Sometimes you buy a pre-made pasta dish from Trader Joe's, something like that. Again, add it, doctor it up so you can make it flavorful, so you like it. So let's move on to marinades.
All right, let me go ahead and pull out my recipe and then we can follow along. Here we go. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Marinade for steak, chicken, for shrimp, anything you want to use it for. But, and mind you, I don't normally measure when I make a marinade. I do measure when I make a salad dressing, but I just kind of throw everything in there. But as you can see, I've got olive oil. You can use a vinegar, a white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, whatever you have. You can also use wine if you prefer. If you have some white wine open, I always look in my fridge to see what's laying around, right? If I have a little bit of wine left in a bottle, red or white or something, I'll use that instead of wasting it, right? And it's perfect for marinades. It helps to really help to tenderize the meat, okay? So I also use soy sauce, or I usually use liquid aminos, but if you don't have that, the soy sauce is fine. And I prefer the low sodium if you can get it. So now I was telling you earlier that you want to be careful with oils, right? When you're cooking with them. But with a marinade, it's a little bit different. The marinade, you want it to be a little bit stronger. If you were making a sauce that you were eating, don't add 3 drops of oregano. But with the marinade, because it's absorbing into the meat, you want that meat to be flavorful. So I use 3 drops each of basil, rosemary, black pepper. Summer Savory was an oil that we had. Every once in a while, doTERRA comes out with these wonderful seasoning oils. As a matter of fact, Wendy, what are the 3 that we have available? There's a Thai, a
Yeah,
Mexican,
Italian. Yeah, Mexican, Italian, and Thai,
and a
I think.
Thai.
Yeah, and that's under maybe limited editions or something like that.
Correct. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
go into the shopping thing. And so it's a blend of all the different oils that would be perfect for a Thai dish or a Mexican dish or whatever, because there was a cumin oil as well. And it's powerful. You do not need much if you're making chili, literally a toothpick full. But with a marinade, it's a little different. So do remember that it's safe in marinades, but use less when you're actually cooking with it. Of course, I always use fresh garlic, and 4 is my minimum. I usually use like 10 because I'm a, and then just put it in a Ziploc bag, or if you have a little marinade Tupperware container, you throw it in there and just flip it here and there. And I'm telling you, it just makes the best marinade. The flavor is so intense. And many of us, like I know Val and I both have gardens, and Terry as well. So we have a lot of fresh herbs in our garden. And I love those, but I put those more in my salads and such because I just feel like the oils give the marinade a bigger flavor. They penetrate the meat easier than a dry herb, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So just marinate. If you only have a few hours, that's fine, but overnight is even better. And and don't be afraid to play with things. If you want, well, Wendy's going to talk about that with the salad dressings a little bit too, is we've got some different flares. If you want more of an Asian flair, you can add such. Oh, here, thanks. So for an Asian flair, just add some ginger and, or turmeric, or, just others. What's the oil, sesame oil, use a little sesame oil instead of the olive oil. So if you want a Latin twist, add a drop of cumin or cilantro. So you can, and lime. Lime is another one, a good one to add for a Latin flavor. So that
Kimberly, you use 1.25 cups of olive oil. So how much chicken are you?
a quarter cup. Oh,
it says 1.25 cups.
Oh, you're right. It's a quarter cup.
All right, I had to ask because that's an awful lot of olive oil.
I'm glad you saw that, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'll fix that.
Thank you. I had to ask because I'm going, ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot of olive oil. No, absolutely. A quarter cup each of those.
Okay, thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah.
It's like,
Honestly,
how much meat are we marinating here?
If you have one small piece of meat, you probably can use even less than that. If you have
tablespoons, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the salad dressings, okay? So what I like to do is make it really easy for myself. I just put it in a mason jar or any jar that you might have with a lid, and just add my ingredients and give it a shake. And I will be sending these recipes out to you in your email with the replay tomorrow. So I'm excited that Val is interested to take photographs, but you don't really need to if you don't want to. So this orange vinaigrette is a real winner. This comes from a winter cleanse. So those of you that might not know, I'm a functional nutritionist and a health coach, and I help people navigate their nutritional needs. And sometimes we just need to cleanse. And so this is a really lovely recipe. You can obviously put it on a salad, but think about putting it on steamed vegetables. And I have a recipe that includes a sweet potato in which you scoop out the flesh and you add pumpkin pie spice and a little bit of coconut oil. And then you can put some chopped apples on it and then top it with this vinaigrette. And it is so delicious. It's absolutely wonderful, especially now that we're heading into the fall season. Such a nice recipe to have an option to. But this is good with anything. And just like Kimberly said, I'm a big fan of garlic. So you can add a little bit more garlic than that, just that one clove. You can have oranges, or sometimes I just don't have fresh oranges in my refrigerator, so I just use orange juice, but it is really, really lovely. Okay, the next one is delish too. I love this tahini ginger. Kimberly and I were talking before you all came on the call, and we were saying it's so nice to be able to make your own salad dressings, because when you buy a bottled salad dressing, oftentimes when you read the fine print, there might be ingredients in there that you don't really want or that actually irritate your digestive system. And the tahini ginger is a really good example of that. So there's a there's a dressing that I buy at the grocery store, and I tolerate it well, but when I look at the ingredients, I know that some of my clients would not be able to, because there are way too many sugars, and there's wheat in there, and there's preservatives in there. And so what a nice way to make your own salad dressing so that you can really honor what your body needs and how your body works. So for those of you that might not know, tahini is ground sesame seeds. It's an amazing flavor. And we have ginger essential oil in here. We have lemon juice. You could add, of course, lemon oil. I do add the 2 tablespoons of honey with this recipe because it has the tamari in it, which is kind of strong for me. So I like to balance the tamari with the honey. And then at least 2 cloves of garlic, and then a little bit of water. And that just depends on how thick you want your dressing. I mean, really, you could think of this as a dipping sauce for vegetables if you wanted it to be a little bit on the thick side. And again, I put all these ingredients into my mason jar and give it a good shake. My preferred way to use this dressing is to cook some soba noodles. Now, for those of us that don't know about soba noodles are buckwheat noodles. And if you have celiac disease, or if you have a gluten intolerance or a sensitivity, soba noodles are a really great option for you. Just make sure that when you look at those ingredients, that the manufacturer hasn't snuck wheat into your soba noodles, because they can do that. So just make sure you check your ingredients. But soba noodles are a great source of amino acids. It gives you all 9 amino acids, which is unusual for a carbohydrate vegetable. It's really, really, really tasty. You can have it hot or you can have it cold. And Kimberly mentioned sesame oil a few minutes ago. I love to top my soba noodles with a little sesame oil and put it in a bowl, maybe lined with some mixed baby greens, and add some radishes and carrots and scallions, cucumbers, whatever you want. The more vegetables, the better. And then go ahead and give yourself a few tablespoons of the tahini ginger. It is absolutely lovely. So I think about salads as a meal. And sometimes people will tell me that they don't find salads to be filling enough. But if you have in your salad fats, proteins, and fiber, then it is actually a full-on meal, and it will keep all of your cells well fed for a long period of time. So this is a great recipe to have in your stash. Let's see, my next one. Oh, this is Kathy's recipe. Oh my God, this is so, so good. I don't know how the peaches have been in Reno this year, but this really benefits from having beautiful peaches, or nectarines, as she has here in the recipe. She uses nectarines and bacon and some mint leaves, burrata cheese, and she serves that over baby greens. And then she has these warm croutons. And the first time I made my own croutons, I thought, never again will I eat a salad without warm croutons on it, because it tasted so good. This is a decadent little salad. It is absolutely delicious. She uses a white balsamic vinegar on this, and I think if you have a hard time finding that, you could probably pick any balsamic that you like. The secret essential oil ingredient, in my opinion, in this recipe is the cardamom. But again, I would probably use the teaspoon, drop it into a teaspoon, that 1 drop, and then add that to your recipe. So if I think about like a a timeline, if you will, a taste timeline, I would find citruses on one end and cardamom on the other. So citrus being light and, you know, just tingly with your taste buds. That cardamom is a little earthier. It's really lovely in cooking. Black pepper, which is something that Kimberly talked to you about before, how good that is. And you could add whatever sweetener you like, honey, agave, and maple syrup. We talked about agave being lower on the glycemic index. I am a big fan of maple syrup just because it dilutes really easily. I love the Dijon mustard in this recipe. I think that the Dijon and the maple syrup add some weight to the ingredients. So it actually coats the lettuce, it coats your vegetables in the salad rather than finding all of that salad dressing in a little pool at the bottom of your bowl. So it's a really lovely way to dress a salad. So those are some of really great salad dressings, but be experimental, put them on some veggies, you know, just sky's the limit. Just give them a try. I think you'll be really excited to make them, have them in your refrigerator, and use them during the week in any different variety of foods of that tickle your taste buds. I also included this chive oil, and technically it's not a salad dressing, but I thought you might like to have this. I think it's really good on grilled fish or poached fish, and you can just pour that right on the fish. And I had kind of a lot of lemon essential oil on here, and Kimberly said, wow, that's a lot of lemon oil. You sure you want to put that much on there? So I took it down, but I think you can just see what suits you, just see what you like. And if you feel like you want to add lemon juice instead of lemon oil, by all means, go ahead and do that. But this is a lovely recipe that I took from a cookbook. And those of you that had been to my house in Reno, we had this really fun luncheon where I asked people to bring a recipe that was inspired by a doTERRA essential oil, and I made a cedar planked salmon. And so this was the chive oil that was on the cedar plank salmon, and it was absolutely delicious. So again, you'll be getting all of these recipes. How's that sound?
Yay.
Is anybody else hungry?
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm hungry.
And
Do you have
I wanted to address though, you guys, with the salad dressings, how many of you make your own salad dressings now? Raise your hand, please.
How many of us want to be making our own salad dressings?
Right, exactly. Well, that's what I wanted to close this to, because the bottom line, you guys, is most people, when I go to somebody's house, they serve a bottled salad dressing, and I have a really hard time eating them. It's just kind of like smelling the synthetic oils or perfume. I can't handle perfume anymore. I'm kind of the same way with bottled salad dressings, and I don't know if people are afraid to make them. They're so easy. And one of the easiest ways to start is, remember the seasonings packets. This is what was it? Good Seasons.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the bottle and it's got the mark on here that says, you know, here you fill this up to the vinegar and then put this much water, and then here's the oil line. I swear to God, go buy one of these. You can probably get it at a garage sale or a thrift store. They still sell them at the stores or not. If they do, get one. Or steal it from your grandmother. Great way to start. Okay. Or I found this little cute bottle. I found this on my trip in my van, and it's got the different ounces, how many ounces on it, right? But it has all these different recipes. So here's a sesame scallion, honey mustard, creamy citrus ginger, Italian herb, French vinaigrette, and a creamy Caesar. And so it's got the recipe on the side of the bottle. And so, which is kind of cool. And of course, I'd be using the essential oils in it, but it gives you a basis. So you're not, you know, if you're afraid, because I'm not sure how much of this to put in and that too much to put in. That's what I loved about this. If you always start with that base of the vinegar, good quality olive oil, and the water, then you add your other ingredients. Right? If you have fresh oregano from your garden, put it in, or fresh anything like that. But then add your oils and your garlic and everything else. And then you shake it up and you've got your dressing, and it's right there ready to use. And it's usually good for about a month, I would say, as long as you don't want to have it near the heat, but you know, and you don't need to put it in the fridge because it'll solidify, but it's fine. And so use that up. And so I usually have 2 or 3 different dressings that I make up. And it's really not that scary to do it. And if you go to the store next time and you're looking at bottled salad dressings, I want you to look at what's in there. And you're going to go, oh, why am I doing that? Why am I buying that? I'm going to get a good seasons jar and I'm going to make my own dressing. It's that easy.
Yeah, and we've given you some great ways to get started with that. So what do you think? You're going to try to make your own salad dressing? Make your own marinade? Yeah, and why don't you share your experience on our Facebook page? This stuff really works. Take photographs of what you're eating so you'll inspire all of us to do that. How's that sound? Will you do it? Okay, good. Okay, I think we're going to wrap this up, but I just wanted you to know that in 2 weeks, we're going to have another class where we're still exploring how to use essential oils in the kitchen. And I'm going to do a pickle picker class. I just love making pickles with my essential oils. So I thought we would do that one next. These are quick refrigerator pickles, so there's no canning or anything. And I was wondering, is that something that you'd like to do with me? Like, should I send you the ingredients and we can make the brine together? And yeah, okay, let's do it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and send you what you need so that you can make that with me, and we'll do that in 2 weeks, okay? All right.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Sounds
Yay.
wonderful.
Good. Oh, it's so nice to see you. And Joey, I just love this picture of you, by the way. It's like, she looks so sincere. She's like, I'm listening to everything you say.
Yes, she does. I was thinking that.
Instead of eating my yogurt.
I love it. I have to catch myself going, that's a photograph. That's not really what she looks like right now.
Well, I had to take a second look when she first came on. I was
out.
waiting for her to, I thought her image was frozen.
Well, it's so nice for me to see all of you today. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, okay?
Yes.
Thanks for the
Take care.
inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so much
Bye.
fun.
Thanks, you guys.
Be safe in the hurricane.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
thinking
thrilled-
about you.
Thrill a minute.